Can you do PR and marketing for your game on an almost $0 budget? I've been finding that out in the last couple of weeks. Hey, I'm Pascal from Orangepixel. Welcome to another video. I'm about to release my next game, which will be released on June the 17th, Gauntlet of Power. Check it out. And I had to do a lot of PR and marketing type things, promotional things. But like many other indie game developers on the lower budget end of things, I have an almost $0 budget to do PR and promotion. If you contact a PR company, you'll easily be lifted $1,000 up to $3,000 or $5,000 depending on what kind of package you get from them, or you take from them or purchase from them. I guess that's the right term. Anyway, it's a lot of money, and most of that, like the $1,000 budget tire, will actually only send out press releases and things like that and not do a lot more. So we can do that on our own for a lot less. Let me show you a couple of tips, tricks and things that you have probably not read on other websites or from other game developers, because these are different. This is not post on Twitter and hope for the best or post on Reddit and things like that. I got a few other things you can do for fairly cheap. So let's dive into it after the intro. Okay, so the first step is pretty easy. If you contact a PR company, the thing they will do is write a press release for your game. You can do that yourself, obviously. You know what your game is about. Write one that's interesting, that cuts to the point. And I'll show you my press release for Gauntlet of Power on the screen right now. Alright, so this is pretty standard and official looking type stuff. It shows where the press release comes from. I think this is a bit silly, but hey, this is what's being done and you can easily add that to your own press release, so why not? It gives a very quick elevator-like pitch of what the game is about or what you're trying to promote with this press release. Then it goes a little bit into what the game is, a little bit key features. It talks a little bit about who made it and created it, where it's going to be released, on when it's going to be released, and like those things, the things you think are important for everybody else who has absolutely no clue what you're doing. Honestly, keep that in mind. You are writing to somebody who has no idea what you're doing, no idea what you're selling, but somehow you have to make them interested in this. So make sure they know it's a game, it's a certain type of game, it has certain interesting features, and it's releasing then and then, and you can check it out here and there, and there's a trailer, and just the really important stuff. Very simple thing. Take a couple of hours to write this. Don't just write something and then that's it. Make sure there's something there. And every now and then I actually did press releases that had some jokes and humor in there, and they did pretty well. But of course it could also backfire because some people take things very seriously. So make sure you hit the right tone in your press release. Now, as most of you probably already figured out, you have a press release, you can start emailing it to all the game sites out there. Of course, that's one thing you should do, but besides that, there are a couple of services out there that you can mail your press release to, and they will actually spread it for you. A lot of game sites, smaller sites, but also medium-sized sites will be connected and will be looking at these services. So if your press release is there, you're already reaching them. So for like, I think the last 20 years, this service has been around. It's gamespress.com. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. You can actually mail your press release to them. There's a couple of things you need to know. They have information on their website what to send in and how to send it in, preferably just raw text and no markup stuff and things like that. But you can mail your press release to them, and within like an hour or so it will actually hit their press engine, and everybody that is in press or in games will be looking at this and hopefully pick up your press release. So that's why I sent my Gauntlet of Power press release, and it got picked up by a lot of sites. I also sent it to Blues News. I think this one is even older. I also sent it to PR Log, which is another one that's free, or I think, well, they have a free tier, and I think that allows you to send out one press release per month or so. I'm not sure, but they are free. So again, we're still at the $0 budget. This is a good one as well. After that, I got contacted by AEN or Ein Presswire. They allowed me to get 2 free PR mailings, 2 different free press releases. I figured why not use one on this game, and I'll have another game later this year, so I might use the other one on that one. Their service normally isn't free, but since I got this one for free, I figured I use it, but also include it in this. Honestly, I haven't been tracking the statistics on either of these services. So the results of my press release so far has just been a combination of these. But if you can use all of them or many of them, do it. And there are more of these. Just Google for press release services, things like that, and you'll get to sites like this that will allow you to upload a press release and then target different type of sites. Not all of these sites will be about gaming. Some are about tech, some are about completely different things like furniture, building, I guess, weird stuff. They cover a lot, but getting your press release out there through these services is probably the shortest amount of time to get the most coverage. Now, the thing about this is that these services are picked up by many sites, but the bigger gaming sites that are really focused and honed in on gaming, they will probably not pick it up from these services, so you still have to try and find a way to contact them. That's still on my list to do for this week, because I think they will pick it up more quickly if I make a story about it and not just have a press release out there or ask for a review. Honestly, I don't care about reviews. I just want them to talk about the game, but I also have a story to tell. Probably, I honestly haven't figured out the exact story yet, but it will probably tie into me being a 20-year independent full-time game developer in a rough time, in a rough period where a lot of people are losing their jobs in game development. So maybe I can tie that all into one nice story to feed to them, and hopefully they'll pick it up and post about my game. We'll see. So use these services, but also mail game sites. And for that, just browse all the game sites, find contact information, which can be a pain and very hard to do. I've been spending a couple of weeks on all of this. So just find them and mail them with the right press release, the right information, and hope for the best. And that brings me to the second thing on my to-do list for the last couple of weeks. Find streamers and YouTubers and Twitch players and whatever you want to call them. Find those that are interested in my game. Contact them. And most of the work went into finding contact information, but also finding the right streamers. What I did is go on YouTube, search for indie games or search for specific games. In this case, Binding of Isaac, Vampire Survivors, roguelikes, and find the right YouTubers that cover those type of games and are interested in those type of games. Find their contact information, which is usually on the YouTube About page, and then write down in a whole spreadsheet their link and their email address, and then have a Steam key ready for them, mail them, and hope for the best. Because this is pretty much how it all gonna end. Hope for the best, because you don't get results immediately, so make sure you do all these things a couple of weeks or a month or maybe even more before you actually release. One little downside on YouTube is you get an X amount of times you can request for an email contact. After that, you reach a certain YouTube limit for some reason, and you have to wait another day before you can do it again. Little tip here, you probably have more YouTube accounts than one or multiple accounts or access to multiple accounts. It's not IP bound, it's bound to a YouTube account. So just use another account and you can go for another, I don't know, maybe 20, something like that, 20 email addresses before again you run into that limit. So after a while I had a spreadsheet full of YouTubers and email contacts and started mailing them. Some of them replied, most of them will not. I've been looking not for the biggest YouTubers because they're doing their own thing, and at that point their YouTube channel is more about them and not so much the games they play. So people that come to watch their videos are mostly there to be entertained by the person and don't really care about the game anyway. So looking for the medium size to a little smaller size YouTube channels. I do draw a line at the bottom of certain amount of views. If you have less than 25 views, it's gonna be, you're probably not that interesting to me, except for a couple of exceptions I made because I think they are gonna be growing big. They just have a certain quality, even if they only have 10 views, but there's a certain quality. They have a cool voice, they have great editing, they have just great content, and it's good to be there now as they are very tiny and really love to get their hands on my game. And if they grow, I just hope they remember me from these early days in their career, because I might still need them for later games in the future. So yeah, set yourself some limits on what you're really looking for in terms of streamers or YouTubers, and try your best and hope they reply. Now there's a lot more I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I'll be doing this week as well. This week I'm gonna contact Steam curators. The mileage may vary, but we're gonna contact them anyway. I'm gonna do some cross promotion on all my other Steam games that are already live, and see if that brings in more attention. Those things are gonna happen. The one more thing I did, and this is actually gonna raise my $0 budget to depends on how much you want from it, but I put it on $50. RoboStreamer. Now, RoboStreamer is a decent service, and it's one of the very rare services that's actually indie-friendly priced. And I ran into indie-friendly services that came in at $20,000. That's not indie-friendly. That's twice the budget of my game, actually. So why would I spend so much money into a service? Mind-boggling. But I did a video on all of that last week about the changes in indie game development and what it means to be an indie. Check last week's video on that. Anyway, back to RoboStreamer, and I'm giving him some attention here. Check out the service. On Steam, on your store page, you can now show a broadcast of you playing the game, or a gameplay video, or whatever you want. You can, of course, do that live, which is preferred by Steam. And I also understand that players would prefer you being there live, but honestly, I'm very busy. It's not my thing. You have to be actually good at that as well, I think. I've seen too many game developers try it, and then they're just doing like devlogs or programming sessions, and they're just quiet. And sorry, but that's not attracting players. That's not going to make players enthusiastic. I don't think that works, and I know it's not my thing. Also, I don't have time to plan it into my schedule to go live on a Steam broadcast. That's just, my mind is already blown up with like 10 different identities doing different tasks and jobs for Orangepixel. I simply have no time to do live streams. So it took me some time to figure out what I wanted for this stream on the Gauntlet of Power. I figured I record gameplay, and then I started doing a voiceover, well, with me like this, talking to the camera. This is what I know, this is what I do every week, so this is not a problem. I did that for the gameplay video and mixed it and edited and combined it in one video, and used RoboStreamer to now stream that 24/7 for the next 55 days. Well, 49 days by now. It's been streaming for a while already. So there's a stream now, and it will hopefully interest players or people that browse the page and haven't seen anything about the game yet, and they will get some tips and tricks from me. Check it out on Steam, and I will be there during the next fest every now and then to hang in the chat and see if people want to ask questions or whatever, and I can then answer them. But the stream will be pre-recorded. It's not live. But the RoboStreamer allows me to do this constantly. It also allows me to participate in certain events during the next fest, where you can promote your stream twice in that week. So I also did that, scheduled those. So it's all extra promotion for $50, which is $1 per day, $1 per 24 hours. You can pause it whenever you want. I figured I put in $50 and I got 5 free days because I got early sign-on bonus thingies. So I have 55 days of non-stop streaming, and I will do it again for Regulator City. It's a perfect service, and it allows me just to talk a little bit to gamers about my game. So those are 3 of the major tips I can give towards promotion. Of course, besides that, it's all the other stuff you have to try and do. Post on Reddit, post on social media channels, create YouTube videos, create trailers, create GIFs, mail people, be part of Discords and talk about your game there, and maybe do paid advertising. I've looked into that as well, but the results I see from other developers is that they pay between $2 and $3 for a wish list. And then like wishlist conversion rate is so low, it's I don't know, I don't think the math really works out. And I also have no experience or knowledge about paid advertising and how to reach the right person. And then the next question is, do you do it on Facebook, on Reddit, on X, on YouTube? Where do you advertise? What's going to be the best, what works the best, what's the best method? It's just too much for me to figure that all out right now. So I didn't go there yet, maybe I will, but for now it's at the $50 budget, all these marketing things, and we'll find out if it's all been enough. Next fest starts next week, I think, about next week, and then after that, the week after, I'm launching the game. We'll see how that all goes, and then I'll probably do a couple of videos on all of that and the results and what's next and all those type of things. We're gonna milk this thing on the channel as much as possible. So stay tuned for a lot of either a lot of positivity or a lot of depressed negativity, depending on how the game does. For now, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, hop on the Discord, come hang out, say hi. Then I'll see you next week. Bye.